Hi,
Gabby,
people.
pointing right at you.
Alright. So, the board says to do what?
Open notebook.
Okay, well, I don't see everybody's notebook. She stole mine. She's borrowing. Alright, on Friday, we were talking about, and we looked at a couple of different ways to separate a mixture. So first of all, let's go back, and what is a mixture? What is a mixture?
A mixture is made of two or more substances that are the same weight.
What's the difference between a mixture and a compound?
Compounds, the atoms are chemically bonded.
Good.
Mixture, it isn't.
Okay. And when we talked about mixtures on Friday, we said there are heterogeneous mixtures and homogeneous mixtures. And what was the difference between those two kinds? Sean?
A heterogeneous mixture, you could separate the particles easily.
Okay.
And homogeneous, you can't like pick out the thing.
Okay. So we're going to be doing a lab in a couple of minutes, and we're going to be working on mixtures. We're going to be separating them. So let's go back and take a look at the list that we put together. On Friday of ways that you can separate. So I want you to tell me the way and then give me an example. So Claudia, give me a method and then tell me an example.
Evaporation.
Okay, so give me an example of evaporation.
Like if you mix salt and water and you want the salt to be left behind, and you would put it on a hot plate, and then the water would evaporate and leave behind the salt.
Okay, so on Friday, bell rang before the water finished evaporating because we had to go outside to measure the flag shadow. But this is what was left in the evaporation dish from what we did on Friday. So you can see what's left there. Salt. Okay, the salt was left. And the water was evaporated quickly by heating. So that was one method. So what's another method that we could use to separate?
Filtration.
Okay, can you give me an example of filtration?
When you put the water and the sulfur into one of those
Filter papers?
things, and then only the water went through the paper.
Okay.
And the sulfur is like-
Does mom or dad or grandma at home have anything that they have, something that looks like our filter paper that they use when they're making something?
When my mom's making coffee,
Okay, and how does the filtering work with coffee?
you put the powdered coffee blend thing in
Okay.
there, and it lets all the juice come out, but not anything from the black little thing.
Okay, so the coffee grounds I
Yeah.
think you're talking about, they stay in the filter paper and the coffee itself gets to go through, because you don't want a couple of coffee grounds.
Density.
Okay, density, that's a good one. How would you use density as a way to separate?
You could maybe with oil, when you put oil in it, and the oil, since it's more dense than water, it will sink.
Okay, well, they will separate, okay, not necessarily sink, they will separate, you'll be able to see the oil and the water, okay, so there is a separation here.
Separation.
Separation, so give me an example.
Like, for example, guacamole, you can see each part and you can take it out easily.
Okay, so you can separate your guacamole. Did we miss any? I think there was one more. I think there was one more that we missed that we talked about. But magnetic attraction, how might that work?
So if you like,
Can you give me an example?
if you had several magnetic objects mixed in with several non-magnetic, you could easily use a magnet to pull it.
Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. So we're going to do something today, and you're going to have to remember your methods, and you're going to have to see which one's going to work the best. So I'm going to ask you to clear your tables and make a workspace. And you make name, date, and period. All right, starting off, you're reading the first paragraph aloud for me. Okay, Rita?
When you see a couple of things mixed together, it is called a mixture. For example, rocks and sand and a solid with lettuce, tomatoes, and croutons are heterogeneous mixtures. Another type of mixture is called a solution. An example of solutions where a solid like sugar dissolves into a liquid like water. As you can image, it is easier to create a mixture like the rocks and sand versus the sugar and water.
All right, so we have different types of mixtures. So can you read it for us in that paragraph?
This graph is a challenge to see if you can think of ways to separate a mixture. Before you get started, list as many different ways as you can think of to separate this mixture. The mixture contains marbles, toothpicks, iron filling, sand, and salt.
Okay, so what your job today is, someone's going to get one of these canisters. And in this canister, there's a mixture. And the 5 items in here are marbles, toothpicks that are kind of broken up, sand, salt, and iron filings. And what are iron filings? I know you used them last year in 6th grade. What iron filings are, what they look like?
I didn't use them, but are they like pieces like flakes?
They're little flakes or little tiny pieces of iron. Like if I was cutting iron and I had some little pieces fall to the ground, those would be like iron filings. So they're all in here. And your job is to figure out how you're going to separate these 5 objects. So let's see what you're going to have to use to help with the separation. So Madison, read the 3rd paragraph.
The materials you have to work with include 2 beakers, a magnetic wand with a plastic baggie, filter paper, funnel, forceps spoon, paper towels, and an evaporation dish. If there are any other materials you think you need, please ask for them. Goggles, safety glasses must be worn. When finished, evaporation dishes can be left on the windowsill with a post-it with your names. Other separated items go in the marked containers in the front of the room.
Okay, I moved it from the front, but I moved it over to the side. So when you're finished and you have separated everything, I have a canister for the marbles, the iron filings, the toothpicks, the sand, and that one, the white one is for the canister itself. Okay, so the plastic canister, if it's empty, when it's empty, goes in there. Over on the side, these are the objects that you can choose to use. And you can use all of them or just some of them. That would be your choice. That's what you have to figure out. So we have funnels, we have evaporation dishes. If you use an evaporation dish, you're going to have to get a piece of paper because when you put it on the windowsill, we're not going to know who's belongs to who unless you have your name underneath it. There are spoons. There is filter paper, and the bottom of the paper, it shows you how to fold them, but I'll show it to you again. You have to fold it first in half, and then you fold it in half again, and then you pull from the one side, and the other 3 get pulled back, and you end up with your cone. So I will help you if you have trouble with that, but there is directions on the bottom. The magnetic wand has a plastic baggie over it. And that's because it's just easier if you're using this to separate something that might be magnetic in your mixture. This will go, the magnetic attraction goes through the plastic, and then when you want to remove it from the magnetic wand, you just pull this back, everything just falls off. So it's just easier than trying to scrape it all up the bag in itself. So we're going to leave the baggies off for that. And then there's also some forceps over here. So there's forceps, spoons, filter paper, anything else you think you might need. At your lab station, there are 2 beakers. And if you think you need water as part of a way to separate, then you help yourself to your own water. Okay? So take a look now at the first question. Cedric, what's the first question say?
This is the ways you think will work to separate the mixture.
So you and your lab partner or partners need to strategize. You need to decide, these are my 5 objects. How am I going to separate them out? Because when it's all done, we need 5 different objects separated from your mixture. So what you're going to do on those lines, you have to write strategy for each item. When I separate the marbles, I'm going to do this. When I separate the sand, I'm going to do this. So you need to come up with a strategy. Once you have your strategy, Then one person from your lab table gets your safety glasses, and then you and your lab partner decide what tools are you going to use, and go collect what you think you need and bring it to your table. Okay? And then as you progress, I'm going to ask you, what was the first thing you separated? What did you do next? What method did you use? So as you go through each step, follow along with your lab procedure so that you can record what you're doing. All right? If you get done today, and I don't think that you will, but if you do get done today, your lab paper goes into the lab paper tray. Questions? Comment?
Where do we put our materials? The substance, the process mixture.
When you have finished separating all your mixture, all the parts, pretty much all the parts will go over there.
Where do we put them right after before we put them in the bucket?
Oh, good question. I would suggest you get a paper towel to put on your table, and when you dump out your canister, dump it on the paper towel. It's just a little bit easier to clean up if you do it that way. That's a good question. Any other questions?
Just to get it clear, like for the marbles, since it's like easy to pick out and stick down your hands.
Yes, that's the procedure you like to use for your models. You could use that. It's not the only way, and for many of these, there's more than one way. You just have to tell me what way you are selecting to do. Better?
If we don't finish in time, how do we?
Okay, if we don't finish in time, we will take whatever we haven't separated, we'll put it back into the canister, and we'll just put it in our cabinets, and we'll pick up there tomorrow. Okay? So that shouldn't be a problem.
If you want to use like one way more than once, can you?
You can. You can use one method more than one time. You don't have to use all the methods. You might, but you don't have to. Any other questions? Okay, so what your job is then is to figure out what are your 5 strategies for moving your 5 items, and once you have that in place, then you can get your materials and get started. All right? We'll do a little zooming in here. Let's do some zooming on you guys, and then I'm going to change, right? So, Madison, when you get out of your table, try not to bump into this.
Use the magnetic wall. Okay, for the sand, use
For the sand, we use the paper.
oh, the filter paper?
Yeah, the filter paper.
No, but then the sand can go through. When we use the funnel, so all the sand will go through, and then everything else will stay at the top.
No, not exactly, but the filter
Oh, but then
paper,
the
so you can put
sand.
the water in the
But then the salt might get into the sand too. For the salt, we'll use the evaporation dish.
Yeah.
By the way, if you get stuck on the back of your paper, there's a little section called hints. And if you're stuck, you can look at the hints. That might jog your memory.
So separate it. Okay. Once you do, oh, the marbles, we'll pick it out with the hands. No, with the forceps, that's so much more classy. For the marbles, we'll use our hands to pick them out.
Make sure you get safety glasses too before you start.
And then for the toothpicks, we use the forceps.
With the toothpick. lastly, we'll use the funnel to separate the sand.
Anybody stuck on any of the items?
Okay, well, if the funnel doesn't work, we'll use the filter paper. Okay. Let's do the next. I'll go get the wax.
That's all we're gonna need for the first one.
These are good.
You might need a paper towel. And as I see you're getting your materials, I'm going to start giving out your canisters.
I do.
It's even closer to this.
I'm going to move it over a little bit. But I figure I'd get started. You guys
No, we just need two.
well, I'm going to put 4.
Oh my god, look at that. Ready? Let's use the magnet. Okay, ready? Wait, Dominic, you put
Whoa. You're going to do it that way? Or do you think it might be easier to put everything out first and then side back? What do you think? I mean, sorry, Tiffany.
Okay, ready? Where's the
Go on
next
in. Are you listening to your lap partner? Ah.
Feel the burn. I told you not to. You need all these too. Yeah, no, let me try. I'm getting the blue one. Barely. We got this. Go. Like.
Look how far it
Okay.
These are hard to get out.
Go. You don't tap it.
But how do you do it then?
Oh my god. Oh, okay, get this.
Okay, how are you gonna separate the salts?
We'll figure out a way. You can test.
Wait, that's my turn.
Wait, you have to take out the. No, we're done with that.
No, don't you see the more black stuff?
Now, how do you get that off? Pull it out.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you know, might be easier to have a paper towel and place that. It's just making it easier to clean out.
Well, look at that.
Why is yours so white?
Isn't that so cool?
Oh my god.